Shalom Aleichem to all the Bayi house of Yasharel, all of them that are seeking to know your name, all of them that are seeking to know your Torah and your right rule, and Shabbat Shalom to many of them that are right now happen to watch us during Shabbat. We praise Yahuwah for this opportunity to be with you all, and we thank the Father for this great opportunity. For in the very beginning, in the Bayi Kadav Ibrit of the Ibrit Paleo language, he has placed his signature on those tablets, which you can research those scriptures written by his finger. So we have his autograph of his name. We have the autograph of the 10-word marriage covenant, right? So it's out of love we keep and obey his marriage covenant. And we thank the Father for this opportunity to come to you and fellowship with you. And we welcome the presence of the Ruach Kadosh in the midst of us. We welcome the presence of his Ruach breath upon you. For there is no space and time. There is no distance between us and you. We are one in the Ruach and the anointing of Yahuwah, just like when Yahushua was on the Mount of Transfiguration, or translated, or transportation. That's what the word comes from, transfiguration. And he went to the time zone of Moshe, went to the time zone of Eliyahu, and we come to your time zone as you come into our time zone. And even though you might be watching this live or pre-recorded, we pray that in the Shem of Yahushua Mashiach, that you would have a touch of understanding and revelation to help you in the areas of prayer for what's coming down on the earth right now. As the days of Noah, so is the days of your return of the Mashiach. So we praise Abba Yah for this great opportunity to come with you. And as it is written, according to Debre Hayamim Bet, or as it is written, in 2 Chronicles 7:14, and my people upon whom my name is called shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their evil ways. Then I should hear from the Shamaim and forgive their sins and heal their land. That are called by his name, that humble themselves and pray, and are called by his name. Are you called by his name, or are you called by a different name? You know, Yeshua said, the many would come in my name, beware. And some would hear that name and follow that other name instead of his true name, the name that was at his time of his seal that was given to him in his bar mitzvah when he was circumcised. That is his given name, Yahushua. And it was what we call a nabu, nabiyah word was spoken in Zechariah in chapter 4 through 6, that his name was given in the future, was spoken. In Christianity, they call it prophecy, but we don't want to use that word because prophecy is a Greek word for fortune tell. We are going to use the nabuah, the nabi, spoken of his name. As you see here, we are replacing theology, correction of the words. And as we correct the words in our tongue, we're going to speak with a new tongue and a new words. We're going to speak those words and call on his name. We left off where there is this Caduceus medical symbol. And as you see, there's a fallen malach, we can use the word angel, right? A fallen one. And it's got a broken ankle, angel. It's crooked, and a crooked mighty one. And so, as you see here, it is splitting. She's a part of an instrument of glass that they crush on a vial to make the potions. And there's two venomous snakes. One's a cobra, one is a venomous viper, which one thins the blood and one clogs the blood. But their venom is used for many other things of different medicines, which we are going to look at that in a moment. And also, we recognize in this photo, you recognize Hermes and Mercury with the same staff. And of course, they call it the rod of Asclepius, the rod of Asclepius, and also the Caduceus medical symbol. And that's what you see here, the medical symbol to the far left. You see the principalities, right, with their rod, and they have it in brass. And the one guy on the far left upper, he's got a silver cup, or it could be a bronze cup like gold, and he has the rod of Asclepius. And there's Mercury in the middle and Hermes, and there's Mercury again with the little Nike symbols on his legs for prosperity to fly. And the same thing with his little beanie cap, all right? And he's got a potion in his hand, right, to drop on the ground. But the one on the far left, he's got that cup, right? And he's got his cape, his superhero cape, covering his penis a little bit, right, his secret parts. And but he's got his medicine rod, all right? Now, when you look down from the left, this is this symbol is also the two snakes with a rod. Now, and the next one over to the right is the same symbol showing the drop of the venom of the snake. And as we continue to go in the middle, there's another symbol of this, of the symbol of medicine or potions. And then again, the one that's kind of reddish, showing the viper venom going into the cup of the sorcerer, the cup of the white coat sorcerer. And then, of course, the far right showing the venom a little bit better. Okay, so these are the symbols. And they try to say, when you go on Google image, they try to have some pictures saying that they got this from Moshe. No, they didn't get this from Moshe. They did not get this from Moshe. The snake in the wilderness, the vipers that were biting the people of Israel for their disobedience and moaning and groaning. And he put this bronze serpent on the staff. And if they get bit, they look at the staff and they're healed. They don't take the venom. They don't get bit by the venom to be healed. They don't take the venom as a potion in a cup. And this is falsehood in Christianity and Catholicism and even in rabbinical Judaism. They have the symbol in their medical facilities as well. And we want to break that falsehood now in the Shem of Yahushua and the lie of his deceit. It really came from this. This is where it came from, of the Greek, ancient Egypt mythologies, okay? And it's not mythologies because it's not a myth. It is a history of documented information. They have an image, they have statues they worship of this, and we're going to look at some more details of their oath they take. Now, this picture is amazing that I found it. It's a image in front of a hospital, taking over the earth through medicine. There was one time I was down in Los Angeles off of La Brea, overlooking the 10 freeway during the earthquake and the damage to the bridge. I was walking around, and looking at that damage. And I had a friend that had a rehab home down the street. And so I was walking around and I seen a Mason Lodge. And I walked into the Shriner Mason Lodge and they were having a meeting. But in the foray, there was a newspaper. And we didn't have cell phones back then. We had pagers. And so I didn't get a chance to take a picture of that. I should have brought it home and took it and kept it and took pictures of it. Maybe someday in the future I'll do it again. But I got this newspaper. In the back of the newspaper of the Shriner Masons, it said, remember all they of the Messianic orders, from the Blue Lodge to the Shriners, and to the golden ring on their finger of the compass and scale of Shalamah, of the wisdom of Shalamah, from the north and south, east and west. It says, remember, make your sons and daughters doctors and lawyers and preachers of religions, so we can control the masses through medicine and law and religious superstitions. So, because the Masons, they don't care what religion you go occupy in. They want to master it and cloak it and operate under the Greco spirit of the goddess of charismatica. Charismatica goes on every single religion of zeal and the charismatic ability to woo people under their spell. Even in telemarketing, pyramid marketing, they have people with charismatic spirits, okay? And they operate under that gift of charismatica. Yes, charismatica is not in the scriptures. Charismatica is in the Greek. It comes from the root of kyros, which is in the scriptures, but not charismatica. The female goddess that gives those gifts of religion, of whatever religion you want to use to control the masses. Also, I have videos about that, but also I have videos on the playlist archives concerning the goddess or the spirit of Shekinah. They call it Shekinah glory, which are one of the two same words. One's glory comes from the Greek aspect of it. We're supposed to have esteem, not the pagan goddess Gloria, and Shekinah. Shekinah is her presence. She comes in the room, and Shekinah is nowhere found in the scriptures. It was birthed and spread through rabbinical Talmud mysticism. That's how it was spread, Shekinah. In the scriptures, it's only found in the masculine tone, Shekan, the Shekan, kabod, presence of Yahuwah, but never the Shekinah. That is the female goddess in Greek spirits that they shoot out at people to put a spell and do magic and do magician shows of the gifts, of the false gifts of the Ruach Kadosh, not the true gifts of the Ruach. And remember, the Ruach, breath of Yahuwah, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Ruach breath of Yahuwah is not equal to the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit comes from the Roman Latin Catholic Church, and it's a different spirit. Spirit is equivalent to ghost of a dead person, a fallen angel, an animal, or human that's died. It's the same equivalent. But and Holy is the glow it gives off. It has nothing to do with Torah and the scriptures of the Tanakh. Remember this and correct those words, because we need to correct ourselves. And this is the time and season to correct ourselves. So, every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account in the day of judgment. We have a great white throne judgment and the judgment seat of the Mashiach. And we're going to sit in one of those, and we're going to give account for our words that we spoke, spread, and taught others. So we want to have good resources to teach others truth, to teach others the root source. Even in etymology, we have to teach them the truth. And We can use those words to speak against them. We can use those words to speak against them and their activity. Just like Eliyahu spoke against the mighty ones of Baal, the Baalim, when he told Israel, you're worshiping the 5 mighty ones of the Baalim. Baalim is plural because they worship the 5 mighty ones, and one of them is Shekinah. Okay, so now, as we continue on with this topic of this particular subject of this lecture, we see you're seeing in your face where the symbol comes from. It does not come from Moshe. It doesn't come. Later on, they destroyed the bronze image because some people started worshiping it. Yeah. The symbol that we see here is used in Israel on their medical facilities and their prescription labels, just like here in the United States and the Middle East and abroad. Okay, so we are not a part of that. This symbol was emunah. They put the bronze up on the stake. You see in the United, just like that picture I showed you of the girl, the fallen one, okay, with the 7 points of spikes of light, okay, and the crown on her head right here. In the same token, they have the symbol as singular serpent and the dual serpent, right? One venom thins the blood, and one venom coagulates, or what is the word they use? Clogs up the blood. Okay, but it's the symbol. It's their symbol of the flat earth surrounded by a wall of ice, and they're conquering and controlling the masses through their venomous potions. Is all medicine bad? No. Some medicine's made from natural remedies of herbs, plants, roots, berries, leaves, and formulas made in your own kitchen of good things. You know, every morning I drink lemon and apple cider vinegar and other fruits and vegetables, and I have my own little remedy I whip up of good stuff for my body in my age. But they have spliced the dice, and in the U.S., 30% of the medical association and use one symbol, and over 63 of hospitals use the Caduceus as their symbol. All right, even the Christian, Lutheran, Methodist, and their hospitals, Presbyterian, would have these pagan symbols, and you would ask the people, what does that symbol mean? And they would say, oh, it's the Moses lifting up the serpent. And people were healed. No, they were healed by emunah. They were healed by looking with emunah. They did not take the venom in their body. It was the emunah and belief and trust what Yahuwah told Moshe to say. Okay? It was emunah. It was not taking into the bloodstream and changing your DNA, which we're going to learn. As we were looking at the different places of scriptures concerning the DNA of Moshe, that the gene of the DNA of Moshe and his sons and daughter-in-laws had a clean DNA, and his wife, they had a clean. As we know in the scriptures of the book of Enoch, as well as Sefer Yasher, that the wife of Noah was almost 100 years, I can't remember exactly, older than Noah. And of course, they lived long and they looked good in their ages back then. And they were tall like giants to us today. And they gave him his wife. They selected his wife, and the family of Methuselah and Enoch. They selected his wife and prepared his path. And according to the scriptures of those writings, he was born an albino. And they were shocked that he was albino, right? And when his eyes lit up, he lit up the room because he had the light of his calling in him. He literally lit up the room. And his father was scared and went to the grandfather, Methuselah and Enoch, and went to his grandfather. I'm just flowing right now. I didn't put the scriptures up to show you, but he went to his father and said, something's wrong. My wife has been lied with a malak, and the fallen one gave offspring to a fallen. He said, no, this is Yahuwah, and he has been chosen, for a great deluge is coming to the earth, and judgment is coming upon mankind. But they were not called mankind. They were called the sons and daughters of Adam and Hawa. So there was a distinct difference when they broke away and fell into wickedness and sin and drank the blood and ate the flesh of all unclean things. Their DNA and their genome changed. But the house of Noah and his sons and daughter and his wife had good genealogy, as we showed in the scriptures in part 1. As we continue in part 2, as we showed in part 1 in Bereshit, chapter 6, verse 9 through 12, as well as chapter 3, verse 15. It was the gene and the seed that was in that good, clean genealogy that did not have mixture. Mankind through Sodom and Gomorrah and other times in history, they even try to get into the Ha'Satan tried to get to the Benjamites, and there was only a few hundred left because they were all Sodomites and Gomorrites, and they were feisty, good fighters, but they were almost eliminated them all. And there's a story in the scripture about them that they were going to destroy them all because of their sin. And the same thing in the time of Lot and the 5 different cities that are 5 different levels of iniquity of your blood and your DNA being changed, slowly changed, going from the outer little city to the inner city of Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, there's a mystery, and there's a secret, and there's a formula to get into Sodom and Gomorrah. And it started with the little city on the outside that fool people and draw them in slowly into the sin and iniquity. People fall into sin slowly, little at a time, a little bit here, a little bit there. And as for us, we get a little bit here, a little bit there of the Torah, of the word of Yahuwah, of his manna, and he waters it, it brings increase, and then we get overwhelmed, and we get born from above, and born from above is the genealogy, born from Yahushua's cleansing blood. His blood cleanse us, but his blood give us a transfusion that our genome is changed from up to above, transformed into the genealogy from above. And what the enemy has done, they have literally tried to get us to eat the food of genetically modified, to change slowly our bodies and the chemistry and kill and depopulate the populations of the earth, but yet change the genome of our DNA through our stomach. And then now it's through the medicines and through the viper and the cobra venom, which we're about to learn. But first, let's go now to the scriptures. Look on in chapter 3, verse 14. And we're going to read it, first of all, right here in ISR. And as Moshe lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so the son of Adam has to be lifted up, so that whoever is believing in Yahushua, him, should not perish, but possess everlasting high. So now, in the same like manner as Moshe lifted up, in the same way as Moshe lifted up, and through emunah, and belief and trust, they were able to have high and go through the wilderness, and the cloud by Yom and the fire by night preserve their clothes and their bodies. And of course they sinned, and many had to die out, but the same amount still enter the promised land through the Jordan River. Okay, so but as the same token, right? The same thing. Now let's look at it in the, and as Moshe lifted up the Nachash in the wilderness, according to Numbers 21, 8 and 9, so it is necessary for there to be a Hadba, lifting up of the Ben Hadadam, Telahim 22, Isaiah 53. and that everyone having emunah, and here's the reference, in him may have high olam, olam, found in Daniel, in Yeshayahu, in Daniel. Okay, this is the Orthodox Jewish scriptures. It says here that in the Greek, the reference of 3789, with the root word, the root of 3700, through the idea of sharpness of the vision, a snake, as a type of sly, cunning, and artful, malicious person, the one with a charismatic spirit, especially Ha'Satan, they call him the serpent. So, as he lifted up the serpent in the wilderness that likes to bite and kill and devour, all right? So now let's go to another verse. Let's go to the one they gave reference to, Bimidbar, Numbers chapter 21, 5 through 9. And the people spoke against Yah and against Moshe, wherefore they have brought us up out of Misraim to die in the wilderness, for no bread, neither water, and our soul loatheth this light bread. So they didn't like the manna. Okay, let me go to the scriptures. I mean, I would have loved to be there eating the light bread, because the bread, they made them lean and mean. There was no fat. They didn't grow old. Their sandals did not grow old. Their clothes did not grow old. Caleb said, I'm 80 or plus years old, and I'm able to go into battle as I was 40 years ago when I first entered the wilderness. So they were strong and healthy. I would love that manna diet. So since I'm an organic eater guy, I would have loved that manna. But they loathed it. They were used to the other bread. They did not have no idea that the manna that came to them, right, was the manna from Shamayim. It was the symbol of Yahushua, the manna in the word from Shamayim. And Yahuwah sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many of the people of Yisrael died. Then the people came to Moshe and said, we have sinned, for we have spoken against Yahuwah. Pray to Yahuwah to take away the serpents from us. So Moshe prayed on behalf of the people. Verse 8, and Yahuwah said to Moshe, make a fiery serpent and set it on a pole. And it shall be that everyone who is bitten, when it looks at it, shall live. And so Moshe made a bronze serpent and put it on a pole. And it came to be, if a serpent had bitten anyone, when he looked at the bronze serpent, he lived. So according to Yochanan, as a reference, quotation 315, this is a future symbol of Yeshua lifted up on the stake, on the styros, on the pole. And the same thing for Moshe, as he lifted up, they can have emunah and believe and trust. And the children of Yisrael set out and camped in Oboth. Now, let's look at this in Orthodox. And the people spoke against Aloha and against Moshe. Why have you brought us up out of Misraim to die in the Midbar? And there is no lechem, neither is there any ma'im, and our nefesh loaths this wretched lakim. And Hashem sent fiery nekashim among the people, and they bit the people, and Amrav mi Yisrael died. Therefore Ha'am came to Moshe and said, we have sinned, for we have spoken against Hashem, Yahuwah, and against you. Pray unto Yahuwah that he take away the hesh from us. And Moshe davened for the people. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, make you fiery serpent, and set upon a pole, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looks upon it, shall live. And Moshe made a nechesh of neshava. It put it on a pole, and it came to pass that if a nechesh had bitten any man, when he beheld the nechesh, Hanik would shed, then he lived. And it's the references here that we read first. Praise Yahuwah as we lift up the name of Yahuwah and Yahushua, as we look towards our Ibrit Mashiach, not this Greek-looking guy, right? Not this Greek-looking guy with a white and red robe like some Greek scholar. No, we're looking at Yahushua, our Mashiach, in a Hebrew mindset. As we look at this image again of this fallen one that splits the earth, and her back is connected to the little glass. It could be bronze, but it could be glass, right? Of those things that they smash into a vial to make a potion, right? It has a brown ball on the bottom, and it's a rod, and the messenger's stuck on there, like it is the Savior on a pole with the two nechesh, the cobra, symbolizing the cobra, and the venom and viper, the fiery serpent, on the earth, crushing the earth, controlling the earth. The earth is the medicine vial, the test tube. They're practicing medicine. If you want to trust in this, that's your prerogative. There is doctors that have spiritual religious beliefs, and they believe in natural homeopathic remedies, okay, that are more natural. You could go to, of course, if you in an emergency, or you go to the hospital for emergencies and you're under that condition, you have to have people to really pray for you, like they prayed for me recently to get me out of there from their venomous stings of all their medications that have some good and some bad. But at the same token, we must be aware 100% that they are representing the Greek, what they call pharmaceutica. And we know that pharmaceutica is pharmacy, all right? And the word virus means poison and death, all right? The word with the vaccine has the word poison and death, okay? And so we're going to look at, you're going to trust in this? Are you going to trust in this? Are you going to trust in this? As we go ahead and read this, we can read it. I'm going to read it, but I'm going to make the words void, annulled, and non-effect of the Hippocratic oath that doctors and nurses of high levels and pharmacists take, okay? This is from the genuine work of the Hippocratic oath, translated from the Greek by Francis Adams, surgeon, volume 2, London, 1849, okay? And of course, it bridges the root source from the days of Misraim in Egypt and their physicians as well, okay? But as we read it together and we look at this, I'm going to read it, but I'm going to make their words to, as far as reading it, void, annulled, and not effect. But I'm only going to read a little bit of the front part. Just like when we read the scriptures, when the Baalim, the prophets of Baal, start to prophesy, that we read it in the scriptures, they're false prophecies. But we're going to look at it. I swear by, and that's right, they have the pagan deity Apollo, the physicians, and Asclepius, and health, and all heal, and all the mighty ones, and the mighty female ones, that according to my ability in judgment. I will keep this oath and this stipulation. It's hard for me to read in my website. You're seeing it better on the screen than I am. Okay? To reckon him who taught me this art equally dear to me as my parents, to share my substance with him and relieve his necessities if required, to teach them this art, if they shall wish to learn it without fee or stipulation, and that by precept, lecture, and every other mode of instruction. Now you notice they say without fee, without stipulation and fee, but yet doctors pay a lot in the universities and schools. They pay a lot years. They're paying their payments off when they start to practice in elementary levels. And when they mean by practice, they are practicing on you. But they don't keep this oath. They make this oath, the one that's telling them to make this oath, and it's a Hippocratic oath. That's right. It's still, they're hypocrites because they charge everybody to go to the universities and trust in this Greek deity, Apollo, and their art of formulas and venom, which we're going to learn. And they're doing it by charging the doctors and professors and the teachers and instructors and the pharmacy chemists. They're charging them to learn this trade in art. And according to this, they don't supposed to have any kind of charge. They're supposed to learn a free will of my teachers and to disciples bound by a stipulation and oath, according to the law of medicine, but to none other. So, right there, they're saying they can't have no stipulation or a fee. But it's happening in our face. They're learning, and they call it the law of medicine. Well, they're hypocrites already. It's a Hippocratic oath. They're a bunch of hypocrites already right off the top. And they worship Apollo. They're swearing to Apollo. We don't supposed to swear to any other mighty one. Any other mighty one. Now, there is Christian medical schools that people go to. They are Muslim medical schools that people go to. They are Hindu medical schools they go to. And they have a different oath. Okay? In India, as well as different places, different universities, they have a different oath, and they don't swear to Apollo. I will follow that system of regimen, which, according to my ability and judgment, I consider for the benefit of my patients, abstain from, it's hard for me to read, I'm sorry, from whatever is deleterious and mischievous. I will give no deadly medicine to anyone if asked, nor suggest any such counsel. So they don't supposed to help people kill themselves if they're dying of a painful disease. And in like manner, I will not give to a woman pessary to produce abortion. But yet, they're giving pessary to produce abortion. So it is a Hippocratic oath. They swear by it, they believe some of it, but yet they're not keeping the no fees to teach others, and they're producing abortion. With purity and with, they say, the goddess holiness, I will pass my high and practice my art. I will not cut persons laboring under the stone, but will leave this to be done by men who are practitioners of this work. Into whatever houses I enter, I will go into them for the benefit of the sick, and will abstain from every voluntary act of mischief and corruption, and further from the seduction of females or males, of freemen and slaves, whatever in connection with my professional practice or not in connection with it. I see or hear to the life or high of men which ought not to be spoken of abroad. I will not divulge as reckoning that all such should be kept secret, while I continue to keep this oath unviolated. May it be granted to me to enjoy high and the practice of this art, respected by all men in all times. But should I trespass and violate this oath, may the reverse be my lot. So the Hippocratic Oath is Hippocratic. You know, they're swearing to Apollo, one thing, but yet they still practice abortions. They still practice charging people to learn the art. Okay. So the next picture we're going to look at as we were looking at it in Jubilee, what they have done in the time of Noah before the flood, their gene was corrupt. Plant, fish, animal, birds, a lot of them were half-breeds of fallen Malachim. As we read in part 1, they corrupted all flesh, even of the beasts. They raped anything and produced offspring of part beast and man, and flying and birds and fish, etc. And they're superheroes that are the same way. They got people gravitated towards the superheroes of today. Children are dreaming of this, even Christian children and believers and Yehudi rabbinical Jews, they dream of being the goddess Diana, for she's the actor of a movie, and she is a Jewish lady that's doing all the magic and all the witchcraft in that movie, and it's shown in theaters in Israel. Okay? And these are all half-breeds, right? Except for the one that got messed up, or Iron Man, which is science and education of technology, and Batman uses education technology. And the fish man, right, with his fork, right, half-breed. The whole movie is about him being rejected because he's a half-breed, okay? But he ended up being their leader, their sovereign, and the sea, okay? It says in the scripture, every knee shall bow of things in Shamaim, in the earth, in the sea, under the earth, no matter what, in the sea, on the earth, under the earth, above and beyond and below. All creatures, every knee shall bow and get account in the day of judgment. Okay? Even if there's Superman that fall from his different planet of a Malak, a super Malak, all right, that fell and brought his seed to earth like Satan. And S is not for Superman, superhero. It is for Ha'Satan. So what do? They try to get our Monsantos, they try to get our, to change our DNA through eating, but the process is too slow. People are using legal things to change it, and they're eating better. They're growing their own crops, growing their own tobacco to smoke, everything to try to get better and not have the poisons and the toxins. But yet, with this in Lyme 19 times, right, that since I was a little boy in the 60s caught COVID in the beginning, in the 60s, and in the 70s, and the 80s, and the 90s. We've been having COVID since the 60s, and I've experienced several of those flu viruses, from the swine flu to the bird flu to the flu, you name it, all right? But now they made their patents with the DNA of something different. They want to change our DNA. They want to make a corrupt seed line, just like the sower and the seed. One that's pride and hidey, right? And stands to everybody, while the good wheat bows in heaviness to Shamayim, to the Creator, for he's bringing nourishment to the people that are going to crush it and make bread out of it and food, right? So, but the tares, right? The tares stand upright, and they're not fully ripe, and they're upright with pride and arrogance. But we're going to read something now. As you know, if you go to healthranger.com, he has videos there, and they show you the interviewing doctors. There's over now more than 5 doctors. There's probably 10 or 15 now that have come forward. He has document proof of what I'm about to show you and read to you, of the venom of the viper used as medicine. But what it's doing through the vaccine, it is changing the DNA. It's changing the genome. It's making you hollow in heart, hard in heart. It's changing your DNA, that you don't feel the Ruach. You don't feel Aloha, Yahuwah, and Yahushua's presence. You become shallow, hollow, and the word becomes foggy. The word becomes distant to you, and your desire to seek with passion Yahuwah and Yahushua, and the Ruach Kadosh presence in you is become through your DNA, just like the days of Noah. This is their ultimate task, to speed up and change to an alien DNA, a geno of reptilian, the serpent in the garden, that it says in Genesis chapter 3:5, where it would the seed of woman and her offspring will be at enmity with the seed of the serpent. So it would be against each other. They wanted to be grafted into each other, as we are grafted in to the house of Yisrael. Even if you're not Israel, I'm fortunate, are a part of the house of Israel by ancestry, but we have to be grafted in through the blood of the Ibrit Mashiach, in keeping Torah and the right rule instructions of the marriage instructions. Everybody does. In the same way, our genome has been corrected and rechecked and cleaned, and we have a blood transfusion of the blood of the Ibrit Mashiach Yahushua. But we're going to read now of this particular pages from the articles that was put on the screen at healthranger.com with the interview with the doctor, okay? And I'm putting this on the screen, but you got to look at the video. It's only an hour long, to show you what they're trying to do, to give you cobra and viper DNA, to change your DNA closer to the snake, the serpentine spirit, as was shown in part 1. Let's read together, okay? Natural news. A biomedical scientist by the name of Zoltan Takas created a biotechnology startup called Toxin Tech that currently lists some 16 different pharmaceutical drugs that are made from the peptides of snake and other animal venom. Toxin Tech, House of Liberty of Designer Toxins. You can actually research this because it's blue online. You can research it and click it and go to the website that researchers can access in order to study new drug development ideas. We're actually not only creating toxins libraries, we're doing a twist. Tactics told by CNN back in 2020 during the height of the Wuhan coronavirus 19, which the 19 means that these venoms attack 19 parts of your glands and organs of toxins to hurt your body organs in 19 different ways. Plant-demic, when some doctors were using venom-based drugs like Incorruptible, which is made from the venom of the pygma rattlesnake to treat COVID blood clots. If we have a target for which there is not a good molecule which blocks that target, for example, then we look to nature. This is what they're saying. What kind of toxins around the earth exist which target that particular molecule? Caduceus went on to explain that these animal venom peptides are made using biotechnology, GMO. The end result is mosaic toxins that he says still contain the same evolutionary wisdom as the real venom found in animals. Now, they made patents of these toxins, of the formula chemistry. They patentized it. And then they put it in a vaccine to help cure people from COVID-19 and the different variants. But the problem is, if they make a patent, whoever takes the vaccine is now owned by the patent. You're now owned by the patent. You're not yourself anymore. Did you know this many drugs were made from the animal venom? The following venom-based drugs are listed in Toxic Tech, are being approved and currently in clinical use. That's right, currently in clinical use. Now, these are the ones here that I was trying to read, that I know I'm gonna fail, do the best I can. Captopril, capotin, and angiotensin converted enzyme, ACE, inhibitor drug made from the venom of the Jararaca pit viper snake. Bothros, and it runs author, and they do all around here. You can go ahead and read it. Inhibitor drug made from the venom of the Jararaca pit viper snake, Bothros Jararaca. Here's another one. Whenever there's a dot, there's a new one. Excitide beta, a glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonist drug made from the venom of the Gilo monster lizard. Another one. Extended release version of beta, also made from the venom of a Gilo monster lizard. Zicodide, a COVID 2.2 channel antagonist drug made from the venom of the magical cone, marine snail, Conus magus. You want some magic put in you, right? Like a saucer. Babylon Angel Max reversible direct therabine inhibitor drug made from the venom of a European medical leech. Leridine, a drug that binds irreversible to thrombin and that is also made from the venom of a European medical leech. Now, forgive me if I'm not saying these Greek words properly, okay? Deridine, a selective and near irreversible inhibitor of thrombin, similar to Refidan, that is also made from a venom European medical leech. Binding of the GPG plip-lila receptor drug made from the venom of a saw scale viper snake. Insis carnotus. Again, a drug that prevents binding of fibergon, von, again and again. Bio, a drug that biotoxin, defibrous, a drug that cleaves a chain of fibergon is made from the venom of both the common latchet snake. And here's another one. Politex act, a drug similar to defibrous, which is made from the venom of a common latchhead snake, like a rattlesnake, right? A drug similar to the previous two that is made from the venom of just Brazilian latchhead snake. Now, you know, rattlesnakes' venom, you can milk them and they make the venom, they convert it into iodine. What iodine will poison you in the inside will heal you on the outside. Okay? We know that iodine does that. It's made from rattlesnake venom. Thornbin-like enzymes, a class of fibrous drugs made from the venom of a Chinese moccasin snake. The Siberian pit viper snake or the Ushri Mamashui viper. Homocoagulable, a drug that cleaves a chain of fiber factor X. So these particular venomous snakes, and the potion they make with it, right, is mixed for different things to even make other medicines cleave to each other to operate. But it's all dealing with venom and is made from the venom of a common latchhead snake, Pithros atrox, Jararaca pit viper snake, or the Brazilian latchhead snake. Medicinal leash therapy, which, as its name suggests, may be from the venom of a European medicinal leash. So here's this. You can take pictures of it. These particular things I read to you, so you can know what it's doing. This is their desire to control the masses. It's been done since the days of Egypt through Greek and pharmaceutica, right? Which is a spellbinding formula of pharmacy to get people to believe in more of them and trusting in man and medicine than in trusting in Yahuwah. And this is the ultimate picture of the fallen one, mixing the potion and splitting the earth. Well, I don't believe in the ball earth anyways, but they're splitting it to control it, making it flat, smashing it down flat, you know. But it's false. It is not the emunah and trust in Yahuwah. It's not at all. So I pray and trust that you like this particular teaching, exposing. Go ahead and go to Natural News, the Health Ranger, and go ahead and look at the video better in detail to get to see what they're trying to do with our DNA, how they're trying to convert us. They got everybody dreaming to be a superhero or to have nanotechnology injected or put in their body with microchips in their brain to help them be more superhuman. They're doing this right now today, and we need to break that spell of those heroes as well as these heroes. Our heroes are Abraham, Ishak, Yaakov. Our heroes is David and his 7 chosen warriors. Our hero is Noach. Our heroes are the ones in scriptures. Those are our heroes, of the ones that represent Torah, and the patriarchs of the Torah, and that we look at and focus to live our high. That is our heroes, not this. So with this, I close off part 2, because it's dealing with the seed that the serpent planted, the seed to let it grow together. So we have them walking among us. They're walking among us. They're living among us. They're serpent rulers in high places, principalities, powers, rulers of darkness in this earth, spiritual wickedness in high places. And they are in high places, because you get into a hospital, or you get into a mental ward, or you get into a prison, they control you. You get into that courthouse, they have power over your high and your death. And so these are rulers in high places, in spiritual wickedness, right? Brood of vipers. Yoshua called them the brood of vipers, because they were part of this occult, the secret societies, okay, to dominate the earth and mankind. Thank you for watching this video. Go ahead and look at our playlist for our different topical studies on cleaning up our words, on knowing his true name, on correcting the words, and warning. This information will change your DNA and your gene to be born from above. Amen. Have a great Shabbat if you're watching this in Shabbat or any other Yom. My name is Eliyahu from EliyahuChannel.com, as well as EaglesHavenMinistry.com.